For the past year, Trump surrogates have been touting this line that we have gone through a cultural vibe shift, and Trump's re-election victory is the ultimate proof of that. And the moment when we all realized, including Hollywood, that celebrities' political opinions don't matter anymore, and they're going to step back from taking center stage as activists instead of entertainers. And I thought, naively, that we had seen the end of it last week when Kim Kardashian posted on her Instagram story against the ICE raids and basically in support of the protests against ICE in LA. And I was sorely mistaken, because I think she just opened the floodgates and gave all the rest of the celebrity class permission to start posting about this incessantly, starting with Sabrina Carpenter, who posted on her Instagram story urging fans to donate to the National Immigration Law Center, saying, please join me in supporting the National Immigration Law Center, with a link for her fans to donate. And then Jenna Ortega added her 2 cents, saying in this extremely emotionally overwrought essay, the world is crying all over. People in Los Angeles are being torn away from their everyday lives and love, the ones they've built so tirelessly over the years, just like you. Innocent civilians in Iran are caught in the middle of warfare. Palestinian cries are still being buried in everyday media. My thoughts are heavy. My heart follows. It is normal to feel confused and hopeless during this time, but I strongly advise you to never stop paying attention. How can we care about anything else as human freedoms spanning across seas are being violated with such violence? Listen to one another and love, but be angry too. Educate yourself as best as you can. To say this doesn't concern you or that it isn't your problem is a privilege under abuse. So she's not just telling people to stay up to date on the facts, but to feel angry and continue spiraling emotionally down the news cycle headlines. I think that that's actually encouraging people to just fully have a mental break from reality. I think that is fairly obvious. Olivia Rodrigo joined in.
Am I supposed to do this in between episodes of Wednesday season 2 or what?
Yeah, I'm not too concerned with what's coming from Jenna Ortega aside from the entertainment. Olivia Rodrigo posted again on her Instagram, I've lived in LA my whole life and I'm deeply upset about these violent deportations of my neighbors under the current administration. I guarantee you none of Olivia Rodrigo's actual neighbors are being deported.
I mean, that's not necessarily true. The people who clean the pools could be.
Oh, yeah. Maybe the people who clean her pools or clean her toilets or,
remember,
cook her
guys,
food.
What they want is an undocumented slave class that exists here to help rich people like her while driving down wages for everyday people like the ones that listen to her music or go see Jenna Ortega's movies or watch Sabrina Carpenter simulate sex on
It's
stage.
just that infamous Kelly Osbourne clip saying,
Who will clean your
toilets, Donald Trump? You didn't do what you thought you did. LA simply wouldn't exist without immigrants. Treating hardworking community members with such little respect, empathy, and due process is awful. Again, these people are not entitled to due process. They're not citizens. I stand with the beautiful, diverse community of Los Angeles and with immigrants all across America. I stand for our right to freedom of speech and freedom to protest. And then she links to
I agree with you
know your rights.
On that one. I do agree that you have a right to protest.
You have a right to protest. You do not have a right to fling Molotov cocktails at police vans.
I've been told reliably that that's not happening.
To shut down highways.
Throw bricks off of highways.
To throw bricks down onto overpasses. And we could go down the list and start fires. You know, it's not the right to protest when you are assaulting people.
I've had thoughts about this a lot because empathy is a good thing. But one of the things that kind of has become clear to me over the years is that empathy for certain people seems to only exist in the grand scale. So they have empathy for large swaths of people that won't actually impact their lives at all, when empathy is better suited to be applied to real people in your everyday lives. That's why they use the example of your friends and neighbors, even if it's a rich celebrity who lives in a gated community, right? And that's not to say that you can't have empathy for large groups of people, but to allow it to cause you to spiral when it isn't somebody that has actually come into your life as an individual. It's one of the reasons why I've gotten into it with people, or at least discussing. I'm like, look, when they go into the neighborhoods, I expect the pushback from the neighbors, because that is the idea of directional empathy, local empathy, people that you actually encounter in your everyday life. You don't think of them as a statistic. You don't think of them as a demographic. You think of them as a neighbor, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, whatever. I get that. But that's not how government officials are allowed. They can't think that way unless they're going to use it for political ends. And in this case, it doesn't benefit a CEO, it doesn't benefit a president, and it doesn't benefit America to act with a certain level of empathy if the empathy in question hurts the actual Americans that were born here or came here through legal means, which is why they conflate the idea of legal immigration and illegal immigration. That's why they never actually add the qualifier in front of it. So empathy is weaponized by all parties for the most part, but right now this is a specific example of that type of targeted suicidal empathy. That notice that most of this is white Western women in a lot of cases. And I get it. I understand. I still think you're wrong.
Well, on the contrary, I actually don't think it's possible to empathize with a group of people or love a group of people because they're not humanized. And this is why Hollywood places such an intense emphasis on needing to tell the stories of marginalized people, because until you make it into an individual story, nobody can actually relate to it. So honestly, I don't know what it is, but this is not empathy. It's probably, my best guess, displaced maternal instincts that are projected onto vast swaths of the population from young women who have not fulfilled their true desires. Another one is Addison Rae. She posted on her Instagram, "I'm so disappointed and disturbed by what is happening across our nation. This country could not exist without immigrants."
There's that conflation again.
Of course. "Every human being deserves the right to exist in an environment that makes them feel safe, lovingly protected, and embraced. This link provides ways you can stay up to date and get involved." This is just the black square all over again. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. The same exact psychology used to pressure people into posting the black square back in 2020 is what is behind all of these celebrities posting about the ICE protests. It's the same thing, because I saw their comment sections getting overrun with their own fans telling them, if you don't use your platform to speak out against this, you're just a trademark bad person. So none of them are actually posting about this, I presume, because they feel strongly about it. They just want to get the haters off their back.
They're also closeted American supremacists, because they would never hold another country to this same standard. They would never expect to go into Mexico and be able to overstay a work visa and live there and protest there and do whatever they want and not be reprimanded and removed by the government. They actually do quietly believe that America is better than the rest of the world, but they have to cloak it in self-hatred lest they be turned on by Marxist lunatics.
And it doesn't stop at merely celebrities posting on their phones from their bedrooms. The celebrities also hit the streets over the weekend, including Gracie Abrams, Nepo daughter of J.J. Abrams and Katie McGrath. She joined her mom at an anti-ICE protest, and they posted a selfie together with this sign saying, "If you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor." And they're smiling smugly at the camera because they know they are more virtuous than us. Yes. Jack Black also joined the No Kings protest over the weekend. You can see him in this video. Just what are you doing, bro? Is he wearing noise canceling headphones?
Yes. Well, he's wearing
in case of tear gas or something.
I'm glad he's walking.
Yeah, he needs the exercise.
Well, bro did just almost make $1 billion with Minecraft. He's got the time.
Yeah. And he was the one calling for, empathy and civility back when his bandmate last year called for an assassination attempt against Trump. And he was like, whoa, cool it with the anti-Trump remarks, bro. Like, we don't want to be prosecuted for that. Other celebrities included Mark Ruffalo, Jimmy Kimmel, Kerry Washington stepping out at the No Kings protests nationwide. I saw some in Charlestown over the weekend, which were quite pitiful to look at. But there were also the counter protests against the military parade.
Hasn't Trump also like walked it back when it comes to like service industries and farming anyways?
That came up on IRL last week. Yeah. He said something in a segment on Fox News to a journalist about suggesting that we need common sense about the illegal immigrants who work in, on farms or plants. I think he was suggesting that amnesty is possible for them, which is just going to cause more of them to come to the border. But then he walked it back again on Truth Social.
Yeah, he's not batting 1,000.
He's flip-flopping.
He's definitely not batting 1,000 with his most faithful right now.
But if anything, that just proves that he's not the boogeyman all of these celebrities think he is. Shakira also spoke out about the culture of fear that the Trump administration is spreading with their aggressive immigration policies. Having been born in Colombia, she spoke in an interview with BBC News about how the U.S. has changed since she moved as a teenager to expand her music career. I was only 19 when I moved to the U.S., like many other Colombian immigrants who come to this country looking for a better future. She said according to her, living in the U.S. means living in constant fear, and it's painful to see. Now more than ever, we have to remain united. Now more than ever, we have to raise our voices and make it very clear that a country can change its immigration policies, but the treatment of all people must always be humane.
See, this is a trap.
This is insane. She also, they mentioned her Grammys acceptance speech. To all my immigrant brothers and sisters in this country, you are loved, you are worth it, and I will always fight with you.
Yeah.
I think I gave a little Shakira impression on IRL back when that happened at the Grammys.
Yeah.
Just, it's a clown show. And, I think this proves that the Trump supporters talking about the cultural vibe shift were wrong. There might have been a short-lived one when even Trump's supporters were excited, but now their hype has died down. Celebrities feel emboldened and mobilized once again.
Maybe if Shakira had paid her taxes, they would have been able to figure out a better immigration policy. But since she didn't, I have to support her. I guess she's right.
It's worth pointing out that celebrities did not tip the scales in the election. But that's not to say they don't feel they have a responsibility or a privilege to speak out on politics anymore. They still very much believe it's their place to tell the common folk how to feel about these political issues, ones that don't affect them in their everyday lives. That has not changed a bit since 2024. Yeah. They very much feel they are still in their ivory towers, the same way during COVID that they recorded themselves in their mansions telling everyone to stay home and save lives. That same mindset has not dissipated even an iota since 2020. It still is completely, they are still in the fog of their own delusion and their own ego.
Just remember that the people who hold these beliefs, they tend to be not just upper middle class, but upper class, white Western celebrities a lot of the time. The Shakiras, the Jenna Ortegas. That's going to become more prevalent though. The ones from other parts of the world, because as they come here to work, they're going to bring their beliefs with them, and that's going to be used to try and sway the minds of young fans. And, you know, there's nothing you can do about that except for, you know, if your kids listen to their music or watch their movies, maybe, you know, have a conversation with them about what the actual repercussions are for these types of things, or what someone like an Abrego Garcia actually did while they were here in America, allegedly, you know, human trafficking and making millions of dollars doing it.
We have a 20 from Value in You. Mary, we had shared it was fab. Shakira, anyone?
Can you do the Shakira?
A Shakira impression? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like when I first did that Shakira impression, it wasn't actually a Shakira impression. I was just like doing the same annoying celebrity nasal voice that I always do when they say annoying things. Brett, if you had to guess, do you think that these celebrities, especially the younger ones, the pop stars especially, are they speaking out, out of fear of backlash if they don't? Or are they speaking out because this is something they genuinely believe in? Or is it both?
Hold, please.
Thank you, guys.
Hold, please. You could ask me that question on 2 different days, and I could give you 2 different answers. On any given day, I would like to believe that, you know what, they're just getting their bag, and they're just saying what they have to do to keep the stands off their backs. On other days, I'm like, look, they were raised here. This is a very common idea now. Like, we've talked endlessly on IRL about the idea of like the default Democrat, the default liberal that most people are kind of raised to be. And it gets even more leftist as you go gender wide, you know, if you go towards women. So and not to mention they're in the arts, they're in entertainment. And a lot of the times they're kind of emotional, empathetic people. And that's how they access what they feel and put it into their art.
For some, especially the actors.
Yes.
I believe that argument. But I feel like ever since I downloaded TikTok again, my eyes have been opened. Like there's this new trend that I saw over the weekend. They're using Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child song as the audio where she goes, stupid, or is it slow? And they're saying, they came here illegally. Girl, you do coke and shoplift. They're just pointing out petty crimes that American citizens commit and how it's hypocritical of them to point out the crimes committed by illegal immigrants, which obviously falls on its face as soon as you actually engage with the argument. It's not an argument, it's a shaming tactic. But this is how I believe most of their followers feel. I think for someone like a Sabrina Carpenter, a Jenna Ortega, and Olivia Rodrigo, a Gracie Abrams, and Addison Rae, they themselves don't actually feel that strongly about these issues. They're just like, post the black square and move on. You have to post the link for funding. You post the fundraising link, say the thing, say the line that you need to say, and hopefully no one is going to bash you for staying silent and not using your platform responsibly. It's probably something they were directed to do by managers.
I would believe that maybe, but I mean, didn't Olivia Rodrigo go like above and beyond Plan B at her concerts and stuff like that? Like
that's an issue that I think she probably feels strongly about because she's
okay. So you think on the topic of this issue,
young woman?
You think on the topic of this issue specifically? You know what? No, I don't know if I necessarily believe it. I think that if they engage with the argument, with the concept at face value, that they're young, privileged Western women, and they probably feel an immense level of like shame and guilt for what they've been born into, and this alleviates that for the moment, for the time being. Whether that means they actually believe it or not, I don't know. But I think that we've seen enough people be shamed and hated just for being born here and looking a certain way that I could 100% believe that women especially would fall victim to that type of shaming.
You know who hasn't?
Buy into it.
You know who hasn't posted anything?
Who hasn't?
Tate McRae. At least I could be speaking too soon, but Tate McRae has not posted anything.
Morgan
about
Wallen hit her
protest.
up. He's like, nah, don't do it.
Yeah, that's why they're calling her Tate McRacist.
It's pretty clever, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.